Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our Chavruta sessions live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. Interesting classes for sure. I love the material he's been putting out on the Kuzari. Today is our 10th lesson. For those of you listening out there that may want to sign up, I did put the links below in the YouTube and Facebook broadcast. So if you want to join, you're more than welcome to, or if you want to follow along with today's material, the link is also there. So let's just jump right in and we'll turn it over to the rabbi. Whoop, sorry, I've got so many up here. Rabbi, we're going to turn the class over to you. How are you doing today? How's everything in Israel?
Fine. Good night. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for everyone. We are fine. We're trying to be fine. What's happening in Israel? It's ups and downs. It's not so easy. We're still in a big of a, I'll say, fight. We're in a war, We can't ignore the war. I hope everything is fine there. I know that there's also big problems in the United States, for example. Okay, I think the world got to insane situation. I have nothing else to say. It's really a bit odd what's happening, and hopefully, with God bless, we'll manage to come to a normal stage. Hopefully. Let's jump inside. Let's learn. We are trying to learn to do something good with ourselves and to I will say to knowledge what we call the word emunah. I will say that the word emunah, the simple translation of this is faith. But this is not the right translation. The word faith has some sort of a different connotation. It depends from where you grew up, whom you grew up with, whatever it is. So the word faith is not good. We have a special word that the word is emunah. Emunah is much more how to live your life, a full life, in a way that is related with the right way. We'll say it like that, in connection with God. This is what we are learning in those days, or in the Kuzari. And I want to start with something a bit, it's a bit hard to say devotion. Not the word devotion is not also good. Also, the word certainty is not good. It's the word emunah. Maybe one of the things that we're going to share is on the email, okay, tomorrow, is to explain a bit what is this word emunah, okay? And we're also going to change inside the site. You say the word faith, we're going to change it to emunah. Let's put it aside. I want to start, with your permission, with, as usual, some sort of a question, but to do a question about something that we've learned last time. Okay, last time we saw how there's a question. Last time there was a question about what we call the golden calf. Okay, the sin of the Hebrew nation, but the golden calf, and suddenly the rabbi is answering something else. And we saw that last week. Okay, what he's answering? He's answering about the inheritance of the Hebrew nation and the difference of the Hebrew nation as a nation compared to, if you compare it to Noah, to Adam, or Eve. And what I'm asking now, if it's okay, to try to summarize in one sentence what we've learned last week, 95. What is the main thing that we've learned last week? Okay, this is what we learned. Remember that? This is number 9, not okay. Can you please try to summarize in one sentence what we learned last week? Not everybody together, step by step, everything is fine, Okay. one answer we have. Done. Michael, if we were at school, I would say to you that it's not a good answer, okay? Because there's also the video that you can see. But never mind. We're going to deal about the golden calf this lesson. Except for Dan, who else can say, how can you summarize in one sentence what we've learned last week? Don't hesitate. Write something. Everything is fine. And Melinda, good to see you. Second time today. Yes. Interesting what you said, Valentin. Okay? All Israel will be saved and will be in the world to come. I will say it's true. But there is something very hard with this sentence, because if someone will be here, I'm answering you, Valentin, okay? If someone is going to be in this world and to behave not in the right way, he will come again to achieve in his behavior the world to come. So he might be here twice, 3 times, 4 times. It's not easy. Think about this.
But I still do not have your answer. What does it mean to be cut off, as it is mentioned in Torah?
Okay, but this is not the issue now. Okay, again, try to summarize for a moment in one sentence what we've learned last week. It's not so hard. Okay, very nice. Idolatry is saints in the way of mankind. Okay. We have more people who agreed with the divine influence. About. Very nice. Very nice in this sentence. Okay. Very nice, Martina. You're more than right with the history, with where the history is going. Okay, we saw, we said here, we mentioned a few things. Remember that, okay? But I want to remind us all that it all started with a question, okay? If you can, you're saying more or less good things, okay? That there is, I will say, the people that God is putting himself, his presence in this world with those people. And this is a very long paragraph that is explaining how it's inherited from first Adam and Eve, and from there on through Noah, through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to the Hebrew nation, as a full nation. But the main question was something else. The main question was, what is happening, or how can we say that this nation is such a great nation after we know that they sinned with a golden calf? This was the question, and for this we didn't have an answer. So let's jump for the things that we're going to learn today. Okay, let's jump to number 10, and let's try to understand now to get the answer. Okay, please, Dan, we need to read it. Just a moment, let me move you a bit aside so I won't lose you. Let's go step by step, okay?
Okay. Point 97, the rabbi says, the prevalence of idolatry. All nations were given to idolatry at that time, even had they been philosophers discoursing on the unity and government of God. They would have been unable to dispense with images and would have taught the masses that a divine influence hovered over this image, which was distinguished by some miraculous feature. Some of them ascribe this to God, even as we today treat some particular spots with reverence, going so far as to believe ourselves blessed by their dust and stones. Others ascribed it to the spiritual influence of some star or constellation or of a talisman or to other things of that kind. The people did not pay so much attention to a single law as to a tangible image in which they believed.
First one I want to mention is that maybe I'll explain this a bit later, the point that I have in my mind. But the most important thing is today we, as I will say in the modern world, we believe that the people in the age, okay, the era of the prophecy or in the era of the old times, they were very, I will say, primitive people. This is what we feel today. Now, it's a wrong way of looking at things. But so let's go step by step, okay? It's only started in the 19th century where we started to say that they were primitive people. We forgot that almost everything that we have today is on the basis of things that were learned and researched in the old Egyptians, in the old Romans, in the old Greeks. I'm not saying in the right order. One of the things that happened then in those days, they wanted to worship God through something. I will say it like that. They understood that God is something, the Almighty is something much bigger, much stronger, much greater than what they can express. And they wanted to worship Him through something. In those days, in the old days, in the days of the prophecy, okay? If they had the prophecy, even if they didn't have the prophecy, go to the old Aztecs in the South America. There was some sort of a idolatry there that was trying to connect between them and the Almighty above and beyond what they saw. So they used something very powerful. For example, the sun, for example, the moon. Okay, we know that the moon have a lot of influence on this world also. The moon is doing what we call the sea to move from one place to another. I remember myself as a young kid visiting England one day, and we went to the sea, and we went, and the sea ran away from us. Okay, and we all know that this is something that is happening with the moon is managing to move the sea from one side to another side, or to draw it a bit from one place to another place. The sun, of course, have here some sort of power to this world. And in those days, they wanted very much to worship God, or they understood to worship God through something. Through something. Today, it looks for us, or it seems to us very, childish. Okay, but don't forget that we also lost the prophecy. We're not really in the same era, and we're a bit, I will say, ignorant. Okay, we feel that we understand everything. We don't. We still don't understand everything. But first of all, we need to know the first, I will say, foundation is people wanted to worship God through something. Let's continue on the second part, please.
Point 2, the Israelites' desire for a visible symbol. The Israelites had been promised that something visible would descend on them from God which they could follow, as they followed the pillars of cloud and fire when they departed from Egypt. This they pointed out and turned to it, praising it and worshiping God in its presence. Thus they also turned towards the cloud which hovered over Moses, while God spake with him. They remained standing and adoring God opposite to it.
What was the thing that the Israelites waited for? That when Moses will come down from Mount Sinai, he will bring them. With what Moses came down from Mount Sinai? You remember? 2 tablets. They knew that he's going to come with something. It was clear that he's going to come with something. The 10 tablets were not powerful like the sun in this world. But the 10 tablets, okay, with everything that was written down there, is very strong in this world today, right? It's very impact. It gave a lot of impact along history. They knew that something will come. They will get something here, physical thing. And they waited that Moses will come back with something. Very clear. You want to know how I know that? Let's jump for a moment to, just a moment. He's jumping for me. Let's jump for a moment to Exodus chapter 20. No, too much. Sorry. Sorry. Chapter 20. Okay, in chapter 20, we have the Ten Commandments. Let's read for a moment the end of the Ten Commandments. Okay, after the Ten Commandments. Those are the Ten Commandments. God spoke with them. He said to them, no, I'm God. Keep the Shabbat. Don't kill, don't steal, don't, all those things. Don't murder, don't commit adultery. All those things God said. And at the end, what exactly is God is saying here to them? Please read verses number 19 and 20.
Okay, Exodus chapter 20, verses 19 and 20. The Lord said to Moses, so shall you say to the children of Israel, you have seen that from the heavens I have spoken with you. You shall not make images of anything that is with me. Gods of silver or gold, gods of gold, you shall not make for yourselves.
So basically what is he saying here? There will be something that will, I will say, some sort of a symbol that will be here, but you're not allowed to do for yourselves gods of gold or something from silver, gods of silver. Not allowed to do this for yourself. How exactly you're allowed to do it? What exactly you're allowed to do? Okay, let's wait. Moses will come back. Let's jump back and we'll see. This is what the Israelites waited for. Now let's read part 3, please.
Part 3, the Israelites' descent into idolatry. Now when the people had heard the proclamation of the Ten Commandments, and Moses had ascended the mount to receive the inscribed tables, which he was to bring down to them, and then make an ark, which was to be the point towards which they should direct their gaze during their devotions. 2, they waited for his return, clad in the same apparel in which they had witnessed the drama on Sinai, without removing their jewels or changing their clothes, remaining just as he left them, expecting every moment to see him return. He, however, tarried 40 days, although he had not provided himself with food, having only left them with the intention of returning the same day. An evil spirit overpowered a portion of the people, and they began to divide into parties and factions. Many views and opinions were expressed, till at last some decided to do like the other nations, and seek an object in which they could have faith, without, however, prejudicing the supremacy of him who had brought them out of Egypt. On the contrary, this was to be something to which they could point when relating the wonders of God, as the Philistines did with the ark, when they said that God dwelt within it.
We're starting to realize what's happening. Okay, there was some of the people said, but we need something. We need something that we will be able to look at and to know that it's representing in a physical way, it's representing something much more abstractive, okay? The God in behind of it. But this will be the representative thing here that is showing us to the above of it. This is what some of the people started to say. Let's not forget, Moses went out without taking any food, anything with himself, and suddenly he wasn't there he didn't came back for 40 days. Do you know anyone who can live for 40 days without eating, without drinking? We don't know. I will say to you that Moses, he got, I will say miraculously, he got some sort of strength from God. Never mind. This we know today, okay? In those days, in the same event that happened, they didn't know what's happening. And they needed something, a physical thing, to be representative for God. let's continue on. It's very important. I'm going step by step. In a moment, you will understand what I'm doing. Okay, please. 4.
Point 4, comparing the golden calf to other forms of worship. We do the same with the sky and every other object concerning which we know that it is set in motion by the divine will exclusively, and not by any accident or desire of man or nature.
We say, for example, Yirat Shamayim. What is Yirat Shamayim? The fear of God. So in English, we say the fear of God. Do you know what we say in Hebrew? Fear of heaven. When we say fear of heaven in Hebrew, we mean fear of God. Do we really want to say that God is heaven? No. Okay. I'm sure that there's also a lot of wordings like that in English. Okay. When we aiming towards something much greater than the things that we're speaking about. Why, when you ask a kid, where is God, he is pointing up and saying at heaven. He's not at heaven. He's, all over the world. He's something else. He created this world. But we have some sort of imagination, we'll say it like that, of something that will be the obstacle between us and God. And we using it to understand how to speak with God. Let's continue on. The sin and its aftermath, please.
The sin and its aftermath. Their sin consisted in the manufacture of an image of a forbidden thing, and in attributing divine power to a creation of their own, something chosen by themselves without the guidance of God. Some excuse may be found for them in the dissension which had broken out among them, and in the fact that out of 600,000 souls, the number of those who worshiped the calf was below 3,000. For those of higher station who assisted in making it an excuse might be found in the fact that they wished to clearly separate the disobedient from the pious, to slay those who would worship the calf. On the other hand, they sinned in causing what was only a sin of intention to become a sin indeed.
Something very interesting is happening here, okay? First of all, we're not speaking about a big amount of people. If there were 600,000 people, men between the age of 20 to 60, and we're speaking only about 3,000 people, so it's only half percent. It's not even 1%. It's half percent. Okay, 1% is 6,000 people. Half percent is 3,000. Now I know that when in Christianity, when they're teaching about the golden calf, they're speaking about, you see, they all sinned, whatever it is. It's not they all sinned. There's a group who sinned. The most amazing thing is, first of all, and it's very important to realize, you remember that 3 times ago, okay, three lessons ago, we spoke about the person who is going inside to the medicine without the knowledge of the doctor, and he's spreading out all sorts of medicines, and he hopes that everything will manage, but he doesn't really know what medicine for what illness is helping, okay? And the same thing happened here. They decided how or what is the way of getting connected with God. And God said to us clearly in the 10 Commandments, after the 10 Commandments, be careful, don't do for yourself silver gods or silver or golden god or anything else that I didn't set you to do. And the sin was to do something that they didn't get any permission of doing it. Let's continue a bit more because there's something else. So we said 2 things. We said that it was a low amount of people, and we also said that they did a sin by deciding for themselves the way how to get connected with God. But let's continue on. It's getting even better. Okay, please read number 6.
Number 6, the severity of the sin. This sin was not on par with an entire lapse from all obedience. To him who had been led to him who had led them out of Egypt, as only one of his commands was violated by them. God had forbidden images, and despite this, they made one. They should have waited and not have assumed power, have arranged a place of worship, an altar, and sacrifices. This had been done by the advice of the astrologers and magicians among them, who were of the opinion that their actions based on their ideas would be more correct than the true ones. They resembled the fool of whom we spoke, who entered the surgery of a physician and dealt out death instead of healing to those who came there. At the same time, the people did not intend to give up their allegiance to God. On the contrary, they were, in theory, more zealous in their devotion. They therefore approached Aaron, and he, desiring to make their plan public, assisted them in their undertaking. For this reason, he is to be blamed for changing their theoretical disobedience into a reality. The whole affair is repulsive to us because in this age most nations have abandoned the worship of images. It appears less objectionable at that time because all nations were then idolatrous.
Fair enough. So now the most important point that we have here, we have 3 points here. One of them I mentioned already, that about the person who is going inside to the medicine and giving it without the knowledge. But there's another 2 points, very interesting points. To whom are they referring? From whom they get asking some sort of a help of doing this thing? They're going to Aaron. Now, Aaron, with all of the respect, okay, if they want to do a sin, they don't need to go to Aaron. They need to go to someone who is not on the path of God. Aaron is one of the people with Moses who are on the path of God. Okay, he is a righteous one. So that you can see that if they approached Aaron, so you say they didn't have in the intention inside the reason or the ambition of doing something wrong. They wanted to find the right way of doing the right thing. This is why they approach Aaron. There's a question, and Bart asked me already in the middle of the week this question. How come Aaron helped them? Okay, let's leave this question for a moment. Let's finalize, okay, with reading 7 and 8, and then I will answer also about Aaron, please.
All right, 7, comparison to building synagogues. Had their sin consisted in constructing a house of worship of their own and making a place of prayer, offering, and veneration, the matter would not have been so grave, because nowadays we also build our houses of worship, hold them in great respect, and seek blessing through their means. We even say that God dwells in them and that angels surround them. If this were not essential for the gathering of our community, it would be as unknown as it was at the time of the kings, when the people were forbidden to erect palaces of worship or places of worship called heights. The pious kings destroyed them, lest they be venerated beside the house chosen by God, in which he was to be worshipped according to his ordinances. There was nothing strange in the form of the cherubim made by his command.
Right, so we're starting to realize what happened in those days. In a moment, we're going to drill to a bit more profound explanation of what's happening here. Please read also number 8.
All right, 8, punishment and forgiveness. Despite these things, those who worshiped the calf were punished on the same day, and 3,000 out of 600,000 were slain. The manna, however, did not cease falling for their maintenance, nor the cloud to give them shade, nor the pillar of fire to guide them. Prophecy continued spreading and increasing among them, and nothing that had been granted was taken from them except the 2 tables which Moses broke. But then he pleaded for their restoration. They were restored, and the sin was forgiven. Yeah, Rabbi, I think it really comes down to the difference between, say, a criminal act and a premeditated criminal act. That's the way courts of laws look at it. I think with the 3,000, there was deep intent and premeditation. Rather than just being a spur of the moment.
Okay, so I agree with you, Dan, but let me summarize for a moment what we saw. What we saw is like that. In those days, just like today, we have buildings where we're coming inside and praying together. In those days, it was really, I will say, the natural thing to have some sort of a liaison, something physical, okay, between us and God, above this physical thing. And the main sin that happened here is that they decided how to do it, even though God said to them, I will give you the instructions. We see also that it was a very low amount of people who did this sin. We saw that they also went to Aaron because they didn't want to do a sin. They wanted to have a way how to worship God. And we see also that after that sin, God didn't leave them. He still gave them the manna. He had all the clouds. He had all the pillar of cloud and also the fire, the bonfire that is guiding them. Everything stayed. So we're managing to find that the structure of this, I will say, sin is the mistake of trying to decide for ourselves how is the best way of getting connected with God, instead of waiting that God will tell us how is the way to connect with Him. But I have a question, and it's a very important one. If this is the explanation of this sin, because I saw, okay, that last week, I'm jumping to number 9, okay? You see here, this is, we spoke, this is number 97, okay, and this is lesson number 10. You see here? Now I'm jumping to lesson number 9. It started already in lesson number 9. Lesson number 9, when we had in 92, 93, 94, the El Kuzari asked, okay, in 92, why are you speaking so loud and so high qualified about the Hebrew nation? But they did the golden calf. And instead of giving this simple answer, I'll say like that here, that we have in 97, there's something inside, in between what we've learned last week, what you all summarized in a moment ago with one sentence. The 95 is trying to say, what is this greatness or understanding of this stage of this Israeli people? And if so, we need to understand that something else is happening in 96, in 97. And let me explain this a bit. And this is where we're coming to a different, I will say, understanding of what's really happening here, and what is the difference between any religion and the Hebrew faith, and what the Hebrew faith is trying to give to this world. I will say it like that. In the old days, people were much more alive. Now, I'm not saying that today people are not alive. People are alive today also. But the life side, or the life side, is full with a lot of all sorts of things around us. Okay? Not only the connection with God who is giving us life, but everything. It's related with food, it's related with dancing, it's related with learning, it's related with everything that we do in our life. In the old days, the people that were connected with God, like Adam and Eve, and after that Seth, and after that Enosh, and after that Noah, and after that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, those people, and it became after that to a full nation. Those people, the connection with God was giving them life for everything that they did. They lived in a way that is a full way of life. And when God, in the 10 Commandments, okay, I'm jumping back to Exodus chapter 20. When God is speaking with us in the 10 Commandments, it's God who approaching a full nation. We don't need to start to invent or to imagine how is the way to get connected with the source of life and to live a full life. I will say it like that. We don't need to invent it. We don't need to imagine. We don't need to try to find the ways for ourselves. God is telling us what to do. God is approaching a full nation. All the rest of the religions that we have in this world is how the individual is trying to approach God. Is trying to get in a spiritual way connected with God. How the individual is managing to try to have one string of his life connected with God. What with the rest of his life? I don't know. Not always this spiritual side is connected with everything else in his life. And it's the individual who's trying to approach God. And this is what Rabbi Levi is doing here. When he's trying to speak about the sin of the golden calf, he's saying to him, listen, you need to understand, first of all, that in the old days, where there were giants with everything that is related with spiritual sides, not like today, there is a group of people, a nation, that God approached them. Now, after that, let's look at the sin. The sin is that they went and they tried to go backwards like the rest of the people in their world. How to have a situation where we can approach God in our way. But this was their sin. And this is why, before he is giving all the explanation of the sin, and those are good explanations, but it's only one level of explanation. Let's not stay on this level. You need to realize that there's something else here, that God approached those people, this nation, and gave them the way how to live. Some of them did a mistake. It's a small amount of people. They did it not in a way that they wanted to harm, or not in the way they did a mistake. Okay, but God didn't leave them. Now, from this sin, we see how much God is connected with the Hebrew nation. And now we're going to close. Listen good, because this is the next thing that we're going to read. We're going to close in some sort of a way the beginning of this book. Please read for a moment 98.
98. El Kuzari responds, the theory I had formed and the opinion of what I saw in my dream thou now confirmest, that man can only merit divine influence by acting according to God's commands, and even were it not so, most men strive to obtain it, even astrologers, magicians, fire and sun worshippers, duelists, etc.
Now we're closing the beginning, the opening of this book. Remember the opening of this book? He had a dream. And in the dream, he saw that his intention is good, but his deeds are not good, are not well enough. And this dream, he had it 3 times. And he spoke about this, and he tried, he's seeking. Well, how can I find the good deeds? Now that he realized not only that God is guiding the Hebrew nation, that God is connected with the Hebrew nation, the meaning of this, that God is guiding the Hebrew nation or is related with the Hebrew nation, is giving the Hebrew nation the possibility of renewing themselves all the time because of this connection with the source of life. And God's presence with him is so strong where, okay, in those people, I can find also the deeds that God told us how to behave. We can close the main issue that we started with. After this long, I will say, journey that we had, that we saw the difference between or the power that we have in our mind, but there's something above the mind that we have, above the reason that we have, that there's something else that is coming from us, approaching us from the outside, what we call the prophecy, okay, the connection, the relation with God, who is approaching the nation, not the individual, and speaking with the rabbis, well, it's with the prophets, and after that it will be with the rabbis, okay, to guide us in the way that will help, that he wants us to get connected with him, not that our imagination with the astrologers, magicians, whatever it is, who are saying this is a way to get connected with God. Now, we're closing here the opening of the book. It's a long journey. I hope I didn't. I
Wow.
hope
Yeah.
I
Very,
I didn't
very,
lost you.
yeah. Amazing. So many people, everybody tries to do it their way rather than Hashem's way.
Yes, I agree. I know that today, and now go back to the things that we've read in the beginning, and we summarized in one sentence. Okay, what we spoke last week. That was only the foundation of explaining this golden calf scene. We said that God is present, God presency inside this nation. And even if they're doing, I will say, a sin or something that they did a wrong behavior, God is not leaving them alone. It's just the opposite how the Christian people taught along history this sin. First of all, it wasn't a big amount. They went to war. All those small answers are very nice. But the main answer is that God is always connected with this nation, even if they're doing or if they're not 100% behaving in the right way because of a mistake, of this mistake or other mistake, because usually they're very connected with God. I will say this in something by heart now. I'm not going to show the verses. It's in Exodus chapter 32. I will say it like that. When Moses is going down from the mountain, and God told him that the Hebrew people did the golden calf, okay? He is holding the 10 commandments, okay, the stones with the 10 commandments. He's holding in his hand. And God is saying to him, let me erase them. I want to erase all the Hebrew people, and I'm going to take you, Moses, and to build you as a new nation. And Moses asked God, why do you want to do this horrible thing? So God says to him, because I told them not to do idolatry, and they did a sin of idolatry. So Moses asked God, where exactly is it written down that they are not allowed to do idolatry? God says to him, it's your stones, the stones that you're holding. So what Moses is doing? What is he doing? He's breaking the stones. And he says it's not written anywhere. Okay? So if there is a question, what is more, I will say, important? Okay? The words that God is teaching us or telling us how to behave, or the Hebrew nation. And this debate, what do we find? That the Hebrew nation is one step above. I'll say it like that. Now, don't get it in the wrong way, because if you will go to Exodus, read it after that, okay? Exodus number 14, 14:15. It's in 14:15. You will see that the natural behavior of the Hebrew nation is in the way that God asked us to behave. And I showed this. It was also some sort of I will say, an opening statement in lesson number 8, if I remember correctly, where we saw about the manna. We showed this in the verses where God is saying to Moses, in 6 days they're going to collect all the manna. In the 7th day, they won't do it. They won't go out to collect manna. And most of the people in the 6th day collected twice amount. And they came to Moses and they asked him, what's happening? And Moses said to them, this is what God told me. You will collect twice amount on Friday because you're not going to collect on Saturday. There were a few people who went out on Saturday, okay, and collected. God was very annoyed with this. But most of the nation, in a natural behavior, behaved in a way that they're working, that they're working in 6 days and they are resting, okay, in the 7th day. Because in a natural way, this nation, God's presence in this nation is to behave in the right way, is to live in the right way, okay? The divine influence is very much inside, and this is one of the ways that the Hebrew nation is getting all the time renewed. I'll say it like that. There is someone that maybe I need to spread it out also. Okay, someone said to the Hamas now in this war, said to the Hamas, look, this nation managed to to live along this history for so many people, so many great kings, whatever it is, that passed over and this nation stayed. Do you really believe the Hamas that you will manage to kill this nation? It won't happen. Okay, there is some sort of ingredients inside this nation that is related with the divine presence that is renewing us always to give, I will say, life to this world. This is our mission. So this is more or less, if we're speaking about the golden calf, and now we managed to close the main issue that we wanted or we started. What exactly are the best deeds to do? Not only my ambition to get related with God. The Hebrew nation have these secret ingredients inside, and our mission is to spread it to the world. And we admire those who are getting connected with us, because not everybody is supposed to become Jewish, okay? You're going to be the messengers to your communities, to the rest of the world, how to bring this message outside. Those are my words of today. If you have any questions, something that you want, another 10 minutes, I'm here. Not everybody together. Feel comfortable. Yes, Bob. I can't hear you. Open your microphone.
Hello?
Yes, but just a moment. Bart, yes, please. Bart, and then you.
You can hear me?
Yes. I need to answer about Aaron. Remember that? You asked me how come they went to Aaron and what exactly Aaron did, or how come Aaron helped them. There is a very interesting story of Rabbi Nachman Mibreslev. I'm asking you your things. One of the stories is called the Hindik. What is the Hindik story? There is a king that his son got a bit crazy and started to behave like a Hindik in the gibberish Hebrew. Okay, it's a Turkish. How do you call it?
Dialect.
The Turkish. No. I forgot the name. It's like the tarnegol, no, how do you call it? The chicken, okay? It's like a chicken. He started to
turkey.
behave, the turkey. He started to behave like a turkey. He went underneath the table and he got naked. Okay, it's a story. He got naked and he started to behave like a turkey. Okay, he ate from the floor, all the things and everything else. Nobody managed to repair this son of the king, and the king was very upset. So one of the wisdom people of the king, he said, I will repair it. How exactly you're going to repair it? And this smart person got naked, went underneath the table and said to him, I'm a turkey like you. Okay? And they ate together. And after a few days, he said to him, you know, a turkey like us, he can also wear underwear. And they both wear underwears. And they continue to eat there. And after 2 days, he said to him, you know, a turkey like us, he can also eat from the chair. And they started to eat not only from the floor, but also from the chair. After 2 days, he said to him, you know, a turkey like us can wear full clothes and to continue to eat from the chair. And they both ate from the chair. And after that, he said to him, you know, a turkey like us can eat also when he's sitting on the chair. You know, and this way he brought him up to become a human step by step. Okay. And the same thing, Aaron is working on the same level. He said that the nation went down, I will say, underneath the table. So Aaron went with them, and from there he's trying to raise them up. We can find it in a lot of things inside the verses. If you will read them, you will see. For example, Aaron is saying to them, you know what? Let's celebrate tomorrow, with hoping that tomorrow Moses will come. But they woke up very early, you know, and they started to celebrate before Moses came. So Aaron went down underneath the table to be with them where they are and try to raise them up. This is his behavior. Okay? Okay. With Nachman Bibreslav story for you.
Um, I made already a note, but I wanted to ask if I understand it well. The sin was of the 3,000 men, in fact, was starting a new religion. Is it a good conclusion to say that starting a new religion, I don't like this term, always will lead to idolatry?
The truth is that usually yes. I'll say it like that. Usually yes. Okay, it's very unique to start a new religion. It won't be with idolatry. Okay, and it's a big question about the Muslims, for example. They don't worship idolatry, and they are not really 100% Noahide. So we need to find exactly how they are, and even though, but on the other side, they are the only religion that is accepting the blessing straight from God. The rest of the religions is trying to take from the Hebrew people, okay? Or idolatry that started even before the Hebrew people. But it's true that usually, I will say that the default, I'll say it like that, the default of trying to create a new religion is that it will be with idolatry. It will become idolatry. This is different.
Going beyond the commandments.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Valentin, you wanted to ask also something? Well, just I will answer Joseph. Yes, you're right. The free will, okay? It's not a game. God is really giving us a free will. This is why we will get punished for things that we are not supposed to do. Yes, Valentine, please.
Yes, my question is about this. We summarized that we are not allowed to search for new ways to approach God. So we as Bnei Noach, we are not allowed also to copy all things from Jews. For example, prayers, worshiping, Shabbat, etc. So we have in our Siddur some morning prayers, Shacharit. We have Amidah in our way, etc. Is it? Are we allowed to use this kind of prayers? Yes, I have Siddur.
No. I'm asking you to look at the Brit Shalom book, okay? Because in this book that we spread over, and we have it in more than 15 languages, we give all the things that also Noahide allowed to do, okay, according to the Torah. According to the Torah, okay, the sages of the Hebrew nation, all the things that that Noahide allowed to do. Not only that we're saying everything that Noahide allowed to do, we have for everything that we're stating there, we have the resource from where we took it. Okay, so nothing here we are, I will say, imagining or we inventing or we're saying things that are not allowed. We're explaining everything. How exactly? We can give another lessons again, a series of lessons of this, but those are the things that the Hebrew sages, okay, learned and understood along history that Noahide allowed to do as Noahide.
Is it the same with Siddur? Siddur also, or only behavior?
The Siddur, okay, the prayer book that we have, is also on the same level. The things that we are, what are the Noahide allowed to do, to pray? How exactly they are allowed to pray?
How can we get this?
On the site, you can find it. You can find it on the site of the Noahide. I will send you. I will put you a link.
Okay. I'll try. Thank you.
If you want, you can have it also in Russian language or
yeah. I got from Russia. I got the same. I just wanted to know whether you're on the same understanding with them. Okay. Thank you.
We are the Noahide Center, World Center. We are the same thing. Yes.
There is a difference with Chabad understanding.
I will say it like that. First of all, we had today, like we had 3 weeks ago, like we're sitting all the time also with the Chabad people. There are some sort of differences, but just like we have with the Ashkenazim and Sfaradim, okay?
Yeah.
The boundaries of the halacha is very clear. Both of us inside. There are some, I will say, difference, nuance between us. But stick for a rabbi that will be guiding you and feel comfortable to go with him with his with the questions that you have to ask him. I'm not deciding for you who is the rabbi that you're going to take for yourself as a rabbi. Okay, but it's very important to have a rabbi and to ask him, to discuss with him, and find the exact way to behave in the way that is inside the lines of the Hebrew tradition. Okay.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah.
Hi, Rabbi. Hi, Rabbi.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm late. I had something come up. I'll watch the recording. My question is a little bit about last week and also this week. So the question of your rabbi, it's you brought this up. The question of your rabbi and that your rabbi or your teacher is a little bit like your parent. Yeah. Okay. And somewhat, not exactly. But the question I have is about inheriting this divine, we're talking about an inheritance from your parents, right? From this subject of Kuzari, of the divine influence, you see? And my question is, for Noahides, is having a relationship with a rabbi similar to this idea? Or how is it different?
I will say it like that. First of all, there are two things. There's something that is a bit confusing, I will say. In a moment, I'm going to show you a quote, a very important quote, okay? In a moment, we're going to see that. The relationship between the rabbi and the students, there are two things. Always, we have the connection from our parents, okay? This is one thing. And the second thing is the relation with the rabbi. Relation with the rabbi, I will say it like that. Also in the Hebrew tradition, the rabbi is the one who is in charge to bring you to the world to come, while the parents are those who are in charge to bring you to this world. So we need to give a lot of thank you to the parents who brought us to this world, and to also appreciate and to get the guidance of the rabbi who will bring us to the world to come. Okay, this is the main thing. There's another thing that a lot of people are getting confused. Let me share with you for a moment. Okay, something. Tell me that you see my screen, but I want to show you something else a bit. Just a moment. Can you see the WhatsApp? Can you see now the WhatsApp that I'm showing? So please, Dan, for a moment, read this one. Okay, this is a very important part. This one. It is.
Okay. It says, I bear witness by the heavens and the earth.
Yes, exactly. Please, this one.
Okay, I bear witness by the heavens and the earth, Elijah states a universal truth among Israelites and Gentiles, regardless of their religion or ethnicity, among men and women, regardless of gender, among servants and maids, irrespective of social status, all according to their deeds. So the divine spirit rests upon them. To summarize, Elijah states the divine spirit rests upon a person based on their actions, not their identities or circumstances.
Okay, this is very important to realize that. It's something that is going to be also soon. It's going to be translated to a lot of languages. We need to remember this also, okay? And it's also a bit of an answer for Valentine and for everybody here, also for you, Jacob. After all, it's not only for the Jewish people. At the end of the days, it's for everyone who is doing the right behavior that God is guiding us, okay? This is where, if he is behaving in the right way, God's presence, the divine presence will be with him, will guide him, will help him, will assist him. Okay?
Thanks, Rabbi Goldberg.
Not a problem. Okay, everybody. Okay, good evening. Okay. I think that it's enough for tonight. Look at this again, and I think it's closing everything. We are on the way to finalize another 2 meetings. We're going to finalize the first essay of the Kuzari. The next part is, I think it is on the air already. I think so. Let me see for one. If not, it will be tonight because
yeah. Part 11 shows on the screen, but I linked it and it said page not found.
it is really, really embarrassing to say this to me. Try to link it again and tell me if it's not found. Oh, come on, done, please.
Yeah, I'm just being honest, Rabbi. I'm just letting you know. I mean,
click again.
Hold on. Let me see. I got so many tabs open. Let me see. I go to. Wait, I got to pull up a different. I've got Whoop, 1 second, Rabbi.
One of the.
Hold on. Patience with me. I've got so much. I'm here in 9. I'm going to click on 11, titled Prophetic Scope.
Please, don't embarrass me so much.
No, it came up, goes 99, 100, 102. It goes up to 103. Yeah, so it's up, Rabbi. Forgive me.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I organized that it automatically will go up in the middle of this lesson. Okay.
Well, there you go. You're ahead of the game. Now, Jacob and I did our discussion last week, and we went ahead of that. So I have a medical appointment this Tuesday, so I won't be doing my Chavruta discussion with Jacob since we went through the material last week. So I won't be on Tuesday with that. But the material is already out for number 11. Excellent. But I think the biggest takeaway from today for sure is that it's not something you're permitted to make up on your own. And realistically, even your pursuit to draw closer to Hashem can't be imagined and acted upon imagination if it's not rooted in the Torah. And I love how you said about the rabbis being like parents responsible for you in this world. Rabbis have a degree of responsibility. And this is why I read a lot of books, and I always try to bounce it off Rabbi Goldberg, the title, if he's familiar with it, and get clearance. I don't want to be reading anything I should not be reading. Often it's I just want to ensure I'm doing the right thing, and I think that's part of what you mentioned. Yirat Shamayim, a fear of heaven, and legitimate fear of heaven is you got to realize that making the wrong move. We live in a generation, we've seen more and more in the last 20 years. People would rather say I'm sorry than ask for permission. But that's a forward state of function, and it's better to ask for permission or clarify with your rabbi whether to the left or to the right, which is the right way, and walk in it when you're told. Don't go ask a second rabbi or third rabbi or 4 social media posts till you get the answer you want. You've got to be honest in your legitimate walk before God, and let your heart be true to yourself, not dupe yourself with imagination. That's how the subtleties of the other side works. Tries to draw you away, as we've learned today, even in the golden calf. I think, it really comes down to the question of, like I said, in courts of law, they really look for, is a crime committed emotionally, or is it a premeditated? If somebody intended to cause harm or theft or whatever the case is, if it's a premeditated crime, that's always considered to be much more heinous than another. And I love how the Kuzari points out the manna didn't end, the pillar of cloud or fire didn't end, and the divine influence remained. And that's a big takeaway from the lesson for sure. Beautiful classes, Rabbi, for sure.
Fair enough. Excellent. So have a great week ahead. See you next week.
Are we're going to do a class next Sunday, Rabbi?
Yes, hopefully, yes. Thank you very much. Don't be afraid. We're not going to vanish. Even if we're going to finish this series, we'll continue on. Okay, Odette, everything is fine.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Always nice to have everybody in the class, and good to see some of you. Hopefully you all enjoyed. So till next week, have a wonderful, wonderful week. As far as my next class, I usually do Rabbi Carmi Ingber next, but due to the hurricanes that came through Houston, apparently there's a lot of internet outages down there, so we've had to cancel that class today. Because the host at Nativ, they don't have any internet, so they can't open their Zoom room. So these things happen, natural disasters, difference from divine providence for sure. All right, till next week, folks, have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.